Welcome to the Leeds Rhinos Podcast, where we're going to look back at Saturday's clash against Salford and have a quick flick forward, looking and getting excited about this week's coming game against the Castleford Tigers on Sunday. Ryan, quite a tricky game, I imagine, going into Salford after a narrow defeat against Wakefield. Unbelievable performance and result after that first 4 or 5 minutes, but was it a tricky week leading up to it?
You know what? BA came in when we started the review process against Wakefield, and he took Captain America did. He took Operation Human Shield. Yeah, he took it. He says that's on us that we overcoached that week. He made us uptight by saying this is a Wakefield threat. That's a Wakefield threat. Watch out for Wakefield on this. And he, on his opinion, he made us uptight, and that's why we played like we did. So he took. Rightly or wrongly, that's what he took, the opinion of it, and he said that to us. So he said this week, looking forward for Salford, it's on you.
Love it.
Go and do.
I love the way you call him BA. I always think of him as BA Baracus as well. I've got him saved down in my phone. That's his pitch, his icon, because he's got that mentality as well. He pities no fools. And he's just straight talking. But we got a good job done. And listen, let's put it in context. Week 2, actually, Wakefield turn up again. Great performance against OKR, right? Take them right to wire. You look at Hull FC and you look at Castleford, week 1, very good. You know, Castleford go to Hull KR, go into Golden Point. Hull FC get a big result at Catalan. Week 2, though, the evidence is a bit different because Wakey do a good job. The other two drop off a fair bit. We'll talk about Cass coming up. But Salford, having come off the back of a young side getting hammered by St Helens, you think they've got their full side back in. And as we know, Salford love a narrative. They love to be an underdog. They love to upset the apple cart. So it was a tricky game, wasn't it? What was the mentality in keeping everybody focused on their roles going into the game on Saturday?
Yeah, well, to be fair, the coaches didn't mention it once about what team we're going to be playing. Because, again, at the start of the week when we started the looking forward at Salford, we were still didn't know what, as players, we didn't know what team Salford were going to put out. But the coaches went straight in and they looked at the pre-season game against when they played Saints, and they just went, this is what Salford would be like, and they're prepared for the best Salford. They didn't even mention, we don't know what to expect this week, so we'll go with that. They just went, no, this is what Salford are going to do. So it kind of set the tone for the week, which was good. And like I said before, it was all down to us. Players, let players be players. Obviously, Mark Sneed, he plays for Salford, he's got his best kicker in the league, so we have to account for that. And a couple of other bits in there. But other than that, it was very bare bones, and go let us express ourselves, which, if you look at the final scoreline, post-game, it's that rang true.
Well, we'll get there because the skill on some of those tries was phenomenal, and we'll get to Riley Lumb as well. I'm becoming a big fan of him. Right, early on, you mentioned Mark Sneed, kicked a 40-20. You and Jake Connor are having a bit of a chuckle brother exchange, to me to you. And I don't know what it was. Callum Watkins scores in that sort of next set there. What gets said under post, and what was the dialogue between you and Jake for that 40-20?
Well, I could give you a Hollywood answer and start saying it was all positive and it was like, yeah, lads, we'll stick together. And
you're right, Hall, you'll give it truth.
But there was a little bit of that, but there was very much like, for God's sake, like that's happened straight away. He kicked it world's easiest 40-20. It didn't even look like it was a training routine. He got it. I mean, he sliced. He just kicked it outside his boot, so he knew the way it was going to roll off. And he didn't even look under any pressure when he kicked it, even though we'd looked at Mark Sneed that week, and he can do that. And he got 2 in the game, so one against Riley Lumb as well, so I didn't feel too bad post games. But at that moment, I was thinking, we've kicked off. We haven't touched the ball yet. They've just kicked a 40-20. We still haven't touched the ball yet. And Callum Watkins has scored on the post. I thought, and then the next thing we know is we're kicking off again. I'm thinking, if they do the same thing again, I don't know how to defend that, because I'm in the position where I think I'm meant to be. Like, I've got to defend the run shape, because they do play to Tim Laffey quite a bit. So I'm thinking, I don't know what I'm going to do if he does that again. But luckily, we defended a little bit different from then on.
Even the great Rhinos still working it out. And a young kid who is working it out and dealt with it exceptionally well was Riley Lumb, because he scored a couple of tries, took them really well and looked confident. But for me, it was a way he got under some of them eyeballs, found themselves in the right position. In the week leading up, when you're previewing Mark Sneed, What are you saying to Riley, Lom? How are you building that confidence?
Yeah, well, it's because he's a left footer and everything's dominated on the left foot. And the kick from the left side of the field. So then the right winger, me, is more up, and it's more on the fullback to buy it off more to my side and more on Riley to go and cover fullback.
Sure.
So it's more of a, like the pendulum, it's swinging one way when you play Salford because he's 95% dominant kicker. It's like it's not an even swing. It's a very much lopsided swing. So I'm a bit more up and Jake's covering me a bit more. And Riley just went, yeah. And that's all he needed to do. Yeah, he said, that's what you need. That's where you need to be this week, Riley. And I think on the evidence of the game, he nailed it.
You talk about being jittery, maybe overcoached the last week, the previous. I just was marvelling at the way we executed some of the tries. We'll talk about Jake Connor, some of the skill that he had, and all the headlines he's making at the minute are just positive, world class. The Jake Connor we all know he can be. But if and when Leeds start executing in the way that we did when it was 9, 10 out of 10, we're going to be a good team and a tough team to beat, aren't we?
We are, like you say, we saw glimpses of that. And Jake is a bit of a epicentre of that. He is a maverick, isn't he? Great player. We've always said that he's an absolute great player. He has got other sides to his game, which people do talk about, but we haven't seen that yet. And when I say yet, I don't want to say that in the Leeds shirt. I don't think he's got any glimpses of doing that, so that's good. As long as we're keeping that and he keeps producing very skillful displays, I'm all for it. He's a great player. When everyone's fit, I'm glad I don't do BA's job currently, because he's got to have some tricky conversations with people who are, big figures in the team, and I don't want to make that call, but what I do know about Jake and what he's shown so far, he's got to be in the team. Well,
it's the menu that he's got, the way it comes round, that turns around that corner if he's coming at left edge. It reminded me of Matt Moylan when he played at Cronulla, just the way he sort of steps, squares up, Gano steps, squares up, hands in the corner, and then the right side as well. That bullet pass he gives to you back in the game, score. I think it was 255th Super League, but we've got it down here. You've got me on the 337, 38 now. Yeah. For all time, sort of 20th of all time. That's amazing. Do you know when you score tries at this end of history, racking up records, is it as exciting for you as scoring them at the beginning, at the start of your career?
I've said it a few times before, but when I score, we score. It's not about me. Oh. Yes, they do carry a tally, and they do tell it me every time I do score because I do creep up every time. But it's not about that. It's about, like, I'm not bothered if I don't score again. Like, as long as we, as collectively as a team, score, yeah, it's sweet. Because that's what it's all about.
As long as you beat Danny Maguire's record, which you have done, which he's not bothered anymore now that that's done. It's done.
Well, everyone else, our external noise, everyone else cared about it a lot more than I did. And then everyone else had a fanfare for me, and I kind of went, all right, okay.
And he joined in and treated himself to a bag of Haribo as well. Yeah. Right, Magsy then. Let's talk about Magsy, because if anybody's going to come to Headingley and want to get a win and be competitive, it's going to be Danny Maguire, because winning's king. It's idolatry in his heart and mind. He was a great winner. We all were inspired by him. Interesting, the contrast between Cassie's performance in round one, OKR versus against St Helens back at home. It was poor reading, wasn't it, against Saints, but we can't be complacent because Cass are going to come here to play.
Yeah, we've got no space to be complacent, because we've just got the bus moving, if you know what that means. I spoke to you pre-game about getting it rolling, and we got it rolling against Salford. If we step on the brake now, we don't want that to happen. We've got some momentum. Yeah. Let's keep that going. Let's build on that. So there's no signs of us being complacent this week. And like you say, Magsy's Magsy, and he's got Brett Delaney as his number 2, screaming and shouting at everyone. Yes, there's an interesting dynamic. There's so many stories, for this week about Danny Maguire. Can he get his first wing? Hopefully not. I used to share towards the back end of last year, the KR days. She had a car with Brett Delaney. So he talked at me basically for an hour on the drive over there from Leeds to LKR. So me and Matt Parcell were both quiet people, and we used to go as a duo for the majority of the year. And towards the back of the year, Brett Delaney started joining us in. And there were quite often I could get in the car in the morning with Matt, say hello to him, And the next time we'd speak, we'd say, all right, we're here now, let's get out. And it was that quiet. And then as soon as Brett joined in, it was, we were awake and wide-eyed, and we had to speak back to him for an hour. So it changed a bit of the dynamic of the car journey, but no, we enjoyed it nonetheless. So I know how passionate Brett is. He did wonders for the KR team when he joined in there. I think that was well documented about what he brought defensively to Hull KR, and he's trying to instill the same at Cass. So we've got to looking forward at Cass this week. We've got to be on his money.
Mate, I love that. We talk about diversity. Sometimes people talk about it as if it's a box ticking exercise. It isn't. It's a mosaic of experiences and abilities and opinions and foresight, and seeing in my own mind's eye there as a storyteller yourself, Matt Parcell, Brett Delaney in a car, mate, complete opposite ends of the spectrum, and a little bit filled in between as well. That'd have been an awesome carpool karaoke film. You're right though, he's going to come and he'll be into their middles, I imagine, a little bit of a spotlight on their middles. I think they made about 60 metres in the whole game against Saints, as opposed to 360, 70 that Saints made. Bit of criticism there. But let's not underestimate them, because we've got a few challenges that I think is an opportunity as well, with concussion, Brodie Croft there. Frawley looks like he's had his hand guillotined. Some of the blood and reports that I heard coming out of the Salford game. Cam Smith, leg injury there. So there's an opportunity to come together. You know, Ryan, adversity galvanises teams, and this is a good opportunity for us, isn't it?
It is, and we showed examples of that in the game where we just went, right, that's the chips have been dealt. Let's get on with it.
Yeah.
Jake Connor did come to the front in that and took lead. He played more like a half and took full responsibility there. Like I say, BA's got a job on this week, so picking his team, to get that going again.
Yep.
I don't know what he's going to do and put people where, but he can do that, and we'll just adapt to it. But yeah, there's a couple of people, leaders in our team, who will be missing. Cam Smith, I don't know. I think he's got scanned today. I don't know. It doesn't look great anyway. Brodie Croft will not be there because of his protocol that he's got to go through. Matt Frawley, he's got stitches in his hand which ripped open during the game. So I imagine that's now a bit more of a mess than it was. So playing with a gashed hand when you're meant to be a half, I don't know how that's going to transpire, but rugby players are tough. So I imagine he'll be there. But yeah, we'll come out. We'll do the process this week. We play on Sunday, don't we? So we've got a bit more of a longer turnaround. So we've got a bit more time to get some more ideas down and get them practiced. I'm sure adversity, yeah, that's there. But that's what we've experienced it many times before in finals when people go down and you just get on with it. In fact, you grow a leg, don't you? Because you've got to do a bit more.
Yes.
And you just get on with it. You don't start complaining or anything like that. You just get right. We've got a bit more of a challenge now, and it's more exciting, and it's more better when it does come off as well. Amen.
The refiner's fire turns you into pure gold, and they'll come at us with a bit of fire as well. There's some players in their side. Wrote down a few here: Jeremiah Simbikin, Judah Rimbu. I think those two Papua New Guineans, when they find a bit of form, if they find a bit of form, Cass, a bit exciting for the league and dangerous as well. Young Fletcher Rooney, Magsy talks a lot about him. He played well against Hull KR. We need to be good against those boys. But you mentioned the halfback role there. Just let me ask you about Morgan Gannon. He's had adversity in his younger life through head injuries, concussion. I was just blown away. When he come on, Frawley goes off, he comes on, takes on a passive halfback role. And by passive, I mean he's not having to think about what to do. He's just delivering what he's needed to deliver, and he did it with such class. He could be like a Paul Sculthorpe in his prime in a couple of years. How good is Gannon to work with?
Yeah, totally. I remember in his first year, I don't think it was debut, but when I was at KR, he played for Leeds against KR at KR, and he scored this length of the field try. Well, who is that? And I thought back then, I think he was 17. I thought he's some player, him.
Yeah.
And then he's had adversity through his head knocks and all that sort of stuff. But it comes back in. He's one of those quiet ones again. It was just like what you just said about him being a passive half. I'm sure that suited him to the best. You just tell him something to go.
Yep.
And then execute 10 out of 10. But his quality, obviously playing with him now, doing the pre-season with him, you can see that he's got quality. a big, strong, awkward thing, isn't
Mate, he's got everything.
Yeah. Don't want to build him up too much because normally that's when. So, but as long as he keeps going on that track, yeah, he's in my team.
Well, he brought himself a wonderful try. Go gadget arms, lots of strength, great lines, intuition, skill. He's carrying the ball in one hand like a Lauer TT. He can pass, and it's interesting. You wonder if you put on him then at some point, and we don't have to talk about this now, the responsibility of having to be a directional half, where that could go as well. Like his sort of vision and intuition could be 10 out of 10. I love him a bit, so I think he's great. Last question: Sunday games. I always reflect on being love Friday night lights at 8:00. How do you feel about Sunday games? Because our fans seem to quite enjoy them. It brings people together. It's for the purists, and it's in an afternoon. Families come. Great atmosphere.
Well, we've had 2 Saturdays, and they mean both at 3:00.
Yeah.
So are we playing at 3:00 on Sunday?
Yeah, I think we are.
So it's just a day back. It's just a day back. It's a different name for a day.
Keeps it simple.
Yeah.
Keeps it simple.
If the fans enjoy 3:00 kickoffs, that's great. As a player getting ready for a Sunday game, it's just, I live my life week to week, and normally get my schedule week before. I go, right, I'm doing this week. Sound, no worries. I don't have to think about anything else. I think, we're playing 3:00 kickoff. Yeah, sweet, I can deal with that. Done. Don't make it too complicated. Just turn up and play.
That's it, turn up and play. Come and join me and Luke Gale as well in the long room post-game for our gold members. As a Leeds fan, I look forward to game days. It's the best day of the week. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to do a box 2 now. So, Ollie, looking forward to see you Sunday. Thanks for joining us on the Leeds Rhinos Podcast.